So for Women's History Month, I wanted to do something special here in Lumberjillville. So for the first time ever here in Lumberjillville, we're going to be reviewing a UFC figure in Ultimate Series 1, Amanda Nunes. Now, she is a trailblazer in her own right, and arguably the greatest female fighter of all time. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, doesn't women's wrestling live here? Oh, and it does, don't worry. However, with that being said, the whole point of this channel is to respect and show the love and admiration for these larger-than-life inspirational women. And Nunes is no different. So I'm very excited to dive in and take a closer look at this figure. The frick was that?
Tap out. Tap out. Tap out.
Hey, break it up. Come here, Alexa, what in the world were you doing?
Well, today's figure got me all jacked up, and I wanted to practice my UFC submission holds.
But an armbar? And on Diva Marie? She's so delicate.
Delicate like a flower, baby. Oh, you know what I mean, Mayor Aaron.
And how exactly do you know this, Mayor Aaron?
Huh, what? I don't know what she means by that. I don't know at all. But Diva Marie, hey, it's good to have you back here in Lumberjillville, especially after that Total Metellas hiatus.
Yeah. Can you, just get a new computer and make more episodes of Total Metellas so I can become famous? Ooh, I can be like the Kim Kardashian of wrestling figures. OMG!
Well, good news. The computer's coming soon. Real soon. But I really don't know about that Kim K thing.
Can I just get back to training?
Huh. No, you can't come here, Alexa. Because you see here, Lumberjillville is a place, or a community if you will, where we learn to love each other no matter what. You could be Mattel, you could be Jax, you could be Jazzwares, and at the end of the day, we love each other for what's on the inside, and we don't want to hurt each other. We just want to respect, love, and cherish each other for what we have. Oh God! Hey y'all, welcome to Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling and strong women live here. Now I am super excited to review a figure of Amanda the Lioness Nunes. And she is a true inspiration in her own right. Both in the MMA ring and also in her life. I mean, she was the first openly gay UFC champion in history, which opened the doors for so many athletes around the world. And on top of that, she was the first UFC woman in history to hold 2 different championships in 2 different weight divisions at the same time, which is astounding. Now, how is she related to wrestling? Well, in 2015, she knocked out Shayna Baszler in the first round. And Ronda Rousey? Yeah, she knocked her out in the first round too in 2016 in 48 seconds. So without further ado, I'm super excited to look at this figure, so let's take a closer look. So, starting off with this box, I mean, Jazzwares has the box game figured out. Those AEW figures look amazing in their boxes. And this first line of the Ultimate Series, I mean, these are great. These are just solid boxes. And as you can see on the inside, there's tons of accessories. We'll get to those. Now, starting with the front here, it's a nice, badass photo of Amanda Nunes. And on the side, there's another photo with a little smirk on her face. The other side has some writing. Now, what really stands out is on the back, there's this awesome fight photo of her versus Holly Holm. And what saves me tons of research in all actuality is that they have exactly what this attire is based off of. So as you can see in the corner here, UFC 239 on July 6, 2019 in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Nunes defeated Holm in the first round. So I love that they included that along with fight statistics. I think that's so much fun, and it really made me get another one to keep men on card and one to open to review. So yeah, this box is awesome. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at the figure. UFC Ultimate Series 1, Amanda Nunes. Now, early in her career, she defeated Miesha Tate in the first round for the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship on July 9th, 2016 at UFC 200. This was when she historically became the first openly gay champion in UFC history. Nunes moved up in weight to face Chris Cyborg for the UFC Women's Featherweight Championship on December 29th, 2018 at UFC 232. Nunes knocked Cyborg out in 51 seconds of the first round to become the new UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. This made her the first woman in UFC history to hold championship belts in different divisions simultaneously. So before we take a deeper dive into the figure itself, I wanted to show her accessories because they're pretty freaking cool. So she comes packaged with closed fist, which is obviously a necessity for her. But she also comes with an extra set of hands, which are grasping, but they also have her UFC gloves on. And she comes with the Bantamweight and Featherweight Women's UFC titles. Now, I believe this one might be a legacy title. I'm pretty unfamiliar with the UFC in general, so I apologize if I am completely wrong here, but these titles look pretty cool. I just love how shiny they are, and they're really going to pop on the shelf. Now, I know they're not the most detailed titles that we've seen in wrestling and Ultimate Fighting figures. However, these definitely do the job, and I think they're a step up in improvement from the AEW Women's Championship that came with Riho. Now, what I think is really cool that came with her is the Brazilian flag. I mean, look at this. It's actual fabric, and what's great about it is on both sides it's printed. So I can't wait to display her with this. I think the thumbnail is going to be a lot of fun to take a picture with this. Because as we've seen with a lot of Mattel figures, the flags are usually cheap or plastic. But this is like legit cloth. So I love this. Now that being said, let's take a closer look at the figure, starting with the face. So starting off with the face scan, I have to be honest, I am not too crazy about it. I really don't think it resembles Amanda too well. Now I think there's a couple factors for this. First thing I noticed when I got her out of the package is her overall skin tone seems off. It seems very orange, so that's a little bizarre. Now, looking at her face, I mean, they should have added some type of emotion or aggression. I mean, this is a badass UFC women's fighter, and you just don't get that displayed on the face at all. It's just a real emotionless face, and I think that's a really bizarre choice. Now, the positives. I do really like this hair sculpt, which, if you look close here, has little intricate braids that are pulled back, and it looks really smart and really awesome. So yeah, as far as the face goes, I'm not too crazy about it, but there's definitely room for improvement in future line of the women. But yeah, let's move on to the attire. So taking a look at her attire, I mean, I love this, actually. So looking up close at her gloves, I did switch out her fist hands and put her grasping hands in. And they do have that UFC padded glove molded on there, which is great. Her top is also a molded piece, like a sports bra, and it looks awesome. And I love how they have this little gray, intricate design there with the UFC logo on the front. And the top is molded all the way around, which is nice to see. Something else you'll notice is the tattoo detail is freaking insane, and I absolutely love it. Now, it's always cool when these fighters or wrestlers have a lot of intricate tattoo detail, and we don't necessarily get that on a lot of women's wrestling figures, so it's cool to have Amanda here with all her tattoos and all her glory. Now, going down to her lower half, she has these UFC shorts on. Now, obviously, they cannot add the Reebok logo, but it has pretty much everything else, including the UFC logo there, Nunes on that side. And then moving down, she is in her bare feet. And I actually thought it was going to be a lot harder to stand her because of this, but they have it kind of hollowed out to make it flat, and she stands pretty good, honestly. This is a solid figure. And overall, just taking a look at it, the body does resemble the strong presence that she brings and the very muscular physique that she has. So I'm happy about that. Now, let's go over articulation next. Alright, so something I love about the Jazzwares figures, and I first noticed it in the AEW figure line, is that their joints are very sturdy and they almost have a ratchet type movement to them that keeps them in place. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. But looking at Amanda's motion here, we have her head, which she can flex down. She can extend up. She can also look to the right, look to the left. She doesn't really go in a circular motion too well, but that's okay. Now her shoulder is on that ball type joint that moves in all different directions. And like what I mentioned at the beginning here, it has a ratchet type shift. You can't really hear it, but each time you move it, it kind of locks into position, it feels like. So that's really nice. Now above her bicep, she does have this little swivel joint. Her elbow is a double hinge here, so it allows maximum flexion, which is awesome. And her wrist can rotate, and it can also flex and extend, but mine's a little stuck and I don't want to force it, don't want to break it. Now, right below her sports bra mold, we have that circular motion you're able to do along with some side crunching there. And then right at her waistband, she can kind of turn. She doesn't really turn too well. I don't want to force it. Now her legs, once again, it has that ratchet type. You could hear it. Listen. So that's pretty cool. I actually like that because it keeps it very sturdy. I mean, it really does. So her hips can move in all different directions. Forward, back, to the side. Her knee is also that double hinge, so it allows for maximum knee flexion. Holy moly. And that's pretty cool. And then moving down to her foot, she also has flexion and extension in her foot. And I believe you can also rotate it a little bit and shift it to the sides. It's also right under her little shorts. That's a little hidden joint. You can also swivel. So the articulation freaking rocks. So something fun I wanted to do was to see how Amanda fits in scaling-wise with the wrestling figures that she's going to be on display with. So on the right here, we have Riho from AEW Unrivaled Series 3. And on the left, obviously, we have Amanda Nunes. So Riho is listed at 5'1". Nunes, 5'8". So if we put them back to back, okay, it seems about right. Now remember, Riho is wearing boots, whereas Nunes is completely barefoot. So it does seem like they are in scale with each other. And out of anything, I would say that Riho might be a tad bit too tall, just in comparison with her and the rest of the Unrivaled line. Now, where it gets a little wonky, to be honest with you, is when you bring in the Ultimate Edition Ronda Rousey by Mattel. So once again, Nunes is 5'8". Ronda Rousey is 5'7". So we put them back to back, and she towers over Ronda, and Ronda's wearing boots. So they are not in scale, which is a little disappointing. I was hoping to do some fig photography. I'll have to get a little creative to make it look a little more realistic, but yeah. So I know scaling has been an issue just across all the lines in general. So that's really been a glaring issue amongst wrestling figure collectors, but it's good to know that at least Amanda will be in scale with Riho in the same Jazzwares type line, so that's alright. And here's one last look at UFC Ultimate Series 1, Amanda Nunes. So it's always tough to give a score to a figure that is a first of its kind in my collection, and this is my very first UFC women's figure. But it's very similar to my wrestling figures, so I feel like I can give it a score based on my opinion. So with that being said, I give UFC Ultimate Series 1 Amanda Nunes a score of an 8 out of 10. I mean, I love this figure. I really do. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. And the things that it falls short on are pretty important things, such as her skin tone and that face. I mean, it really doesn't look like Amanda to me. But it's nice to have these accessories. Those title belts are cool, and that flag is awesome. So this figure looks great on display. And honestly, if you're a women's wrestling figure collector, I would say go out and get this because it's just cool. It's cool to have a different branch of strong, awesome, powerful women. So I like this figure, and I really hope that the UFC as well as the AEW line continues to produce more women's figures in their lines. Thanks for stopping by Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. I hope you enjoyed today's review as it's a little different compared to what I usually do. But for this entire Women's History Month, I plan on really making some special reviews. So make sure to hit like, subscribe, so you can check them out. Have a good night, y'all.